10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and My Eyes on this glorious Friday night. Big game tomorrow against Brentford, and that's what we're here to talk about. So let's just get straight into it because I've got an early train tomorrow. And I'm going to be watching the game in, well, I don't know yet. We'll soon find out. But here's Gary. Gary!
Oh, you are? Hello.
Oi, 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 oi. Yeah, it's going to be fun tomorrow. There's the link if anyone wants to become a member. Please help us out. It really keeps the channel going. Leslie's in the house as always. Even though, please like and subscribe to search your socials and help the channel grow. And obviously, there's all the membership options, and we're obviously trying to help out Newcastle Benfield if we get to a certain level of members. Good evening, Gary. It's nice to see you. You caught this one in time, which is all good news. But it's a massive game tomorrow. After the international break, because it's been a horrible it's been 2 weeks. It feels like it's been a month. It really does. It feels like it's been a month.
I struggle with international football. I always have. I can watch the tournament, right? Now, I'm not one of those that will go out and say I'm like a massive England fan or out like that. I've got one of the strips, but I don't know. I kind of. Maybe it's Southgate, I don't know. I just can't get away with them. I watched a bit of the Scotland game. Mind Jude Bellingham's. Oh, God, what a player he is. But I don't know. I just think the one thing I will say is Southgate seriously should be winning trophies with that team.
No, with the squad that he's had over the last 6 years, he should have won something by now, in my eyes.
Oh, without a doubt, this is the best. I mean, they go on about the golden generation and all that, but these players.
This is the golden generation.
Yeah, this is top notch. I mean, if only you'd pay the right players, you know what I mean? That would help. But but yeah, I mean, come on, like Bellingham, Kane, Saka, endless list of. I mean, seriously, you should. England should be winning trophies with this team, like, because the other teams aren't as good as they used to be either. So
no.
So
I mean, I enjoyed the Scotland game. That was more of what I want to see from England. The Ukraine game was shocking. That was like the old England. That was going back the years. And I mean, I used to be a big England fan and watch all the games, but now I struggle. But I enjoyed the Scotland game, to be fair.
But I just don't get why you're so cautious. Why would you be so cautious with that team? I mean, they're not. I just don't get out. I would with that side. I would go. I'd attack anybody. Away or home. With that side, I would attack anybody. And
100%.
I mean, Trippier's not that first time fullback, but he comes in at left back and looks like he's played there his whole life.
Exactly.
And it's just like there's so much talent in the England squad. It's frightening.
Makes you think, should we be playing Trippier at left back? But that's a different story, isn't it?
No, I've heard that mentioned a few times this week.
Oh, yeah. As soon as he had a good game against Scotland, that was it. Everyone's out going, he should be playing there for Newcastle. It's just like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go. Right. First talking point is Callum Wilson signed his contract extension. Were you surprised?
Yes, I was.
I was as well.
I was expecting Callum to be one of the players away in the summer. Not because I don't like him, because when you look at his goal scoring record, you have to say he's up there with the best for us anyway. Well, how many he's got, but I am a bit shocked. I'm not disappointed that he signed a 1-year contract because I still think he's got a lot to offer. But I was shocked, because I thought maybe they were going to go in a different direction in the summer. I still think they will, but I was expecting players like Callum and like just people like Dan Burn, that type. Maybe it would next summer would have been a time where they upgraded a bit. But I mean, I'm not disappointed he signed a contract. I think he deserves one. And it's a 1 year. You know, I mean, you cannot go wrong with 1 year contracts, especially with
It's
somebody
only
of
an
his
extra
ability.
year, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
but just his age, his
Yeah.
injuries. You know,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, Dan Burn as well. Maybe they'll go into the squad, but knowing Callum Wilson the way we think we know him as a player, he doesn't like sitting on the bench. So
No.
it's a bit of a weird one for me in a way.
I mean, this is a different subject, but I think everybody's fully expecting Newcastle to buy a striker in the summer.
Yeah.
So that's going to put Callum third choice. Now, surely he's been told that. And it's up to Callum to fight for his place, which I'm sure he will, because it's in him anyway. But I'm sure he's expecting, right, I'm probably going to be third place next season. So,
I mean, he's second now, so if a new one does come in, unless it's a young player to learn from, he is, isn't he? It's a bit of a weird one.
The one thing you can guarantee with Callum is he's a goal scorer. And you know what it is? You can't teach goal scoring. You've either got it or you haven't. And he's got it. And
he's a natural goal scorer.
Yeah, he's a natural goal scorer. And they always say that being a natural goal scorer is the hardest part of the game. So that's the one thing you can't say about him. And look, you could look at it this way. I still think to take on Champions League and Premiership, you need 3 quality strikers. That's what I believe in. So, yeah, I'm happy that he's going to. I don't want him to be first choice next summer. If he's first choice, then I'm thinking, bloody hell, what's going on here? But I have no problem with him being second or third choice. Absolutely none at all.
Yeah. It'd be a bit weird if he was, especially with Isak already there being first choice, to be fair.
I don't know. I just, I mean, like I said, these are different conversations, but the only thing is his age and stuff, but it's a 1 year, so it's if he'd signed a 3 year, I would be thinking, what the hell? But it's a 1 year, so it'll probably be the last one he signs for the club, so he'll be 33 by the time he leaves, so can't really go wrong, really.
I mean that would be. You don't want anyone older than that, not in that position.
I mean, to be honest, this could be. I mean, touch wood for him, it's not, but he could retire when he leaves here.
He could. Do you think he would?
Yeah.
Was it not maybe drop down and
depends.
go into a different league?
It depends on his injuries. If he gets a bad injury, then I think he'll retire when his contract runs out. But I said this last season. Wilson cannot be number one. He can't because his injuries too. He's got too many injuries. So because of Isak coming in, he's not playing as much now. So he's always seems to be fit for. And that's the way you've got to play Wilson. He can't be number one. But I tell you what, you'll always get your benefits of Callum Wilson coming on and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's a quality. You cannot say he's not a quality player because he is. It's just,
he's close to being second all-time goal scorer for Newcastle in the Premier League. You know, he's near close to the 100 club as well. Obviously, that list is getting bigger and bigger, but it's still great to be in it. Wayne's buzzing. He signed a new contract. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm thinking, what's the budget going to be like? That's where my mind goes to straight away.
Well,
if they're keeping on players like that, is the budget going to...
You could look at it this way, that the budget's going to be massive because they're keeping players like Callum Wilson. You could look at it that way because you're keeping better players for the squad, but you're going to have to improve like the first team, basically. And you're going to have to put money into the first team. And
True.
I'd be shocked if they haven't got a big budget next summer. I mean, with all they've got more sponsorships coming in than bloody Amazon, you know what I mean? It's just at the minute. Everybody seems to be sponsoring Newcastle at the minute. So it's like
with Amazon getting a big contract, that'd be nice.
do with a few things.
Yeah, this is true. Trippier on the fans. Day to day, when I'm out with my children, you see it on the faces how proud they are of the team, the club. They see the lads giving everything that unites us together. We're on the same journey. He loves it, and so do we all. Trippier, I mean, he just keeps on getting better and better with age, doesn't he? I mean, no one's taken him out of that right back spot at all this season. I know we signed Livramento, but unless it's because Trippier's knackered and he needs a rest, there's no way anyone's taken that spot.
Nah, he's quality, and he's No,
I didn't know that. That's
No.
just kind of shocked me a little bit.
Yeah, because that one, I mean, before I've mentioned Trippier, that's I think that's his nationality as well, isn't it? Karim Benzema. He's from the Middle East, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's French though, isn't he, I suppose?
Yeah, but he's like, I don't know, he's from the Middle East somewhere. I can't remember because they were saying he was coming home and stuff.
Right.
But I'm shocked at that one. Like,
I'm not, because the league, I think everyone saw the pound signs but didn't realise how poor the league quality
the
is.
league's terrible.
Yeah, that's
But
what
I mean, how old is he now?
So only 32, isn't he? 33.
What? So they're going over getting about 3 weeks' wages because it keeps them going for the rest of their life. I think.
Yeah, probably.
God, honestly,
It's mental. So there's the question for everyone: would you take Benzema at Newcastle if he was allowed to come on loan? I don't even think it can happen now, can it?
Nah, not yet. Not that I know of anyway.
All the windows are shut unless he actually is allowed to go on a free transfer. That's the only way we could sign him.
See, that's bizarre because Saudi Arabia's transfer window's just closed. Why didn't he do it 4 days ago?
Yeah. I suppose no one would be able to afford to buy him, to be fair.
No, not with the wages they're paying.
No.
That's the problem when you do go to Saudi Arabia.
Coach. Oh, Jesus.
When you do go to Saudi Arabia, that's the problem. You're going to get nowhere near the wages if you come back. So you're going to have to take a massive pay cut. Doesn't matter where you go. Even if you go to Manchester City, you're going to have to take a massive pay cut. So it's like, because their wages over there are astronomical.
But it's Saudi. Just terminate his contract, pretend you're terminating it, send him to Newcastle on a free, and just bung him loads of money.
To be honest,
could you
they're
imagine?
definitely up to something, right? Because the Live Golf thing, like, you would never have thought in a million years that they would be part of the golf tour.
Well,
you just thought there's absolutely no chance of them getting their foot in the door. And that's exactly what's happened. And I never thought in a million. Do you know what it is? I think that deal's been pushed under the carpet a bit, because that, to me, is one of the biggest sport things I've ever known. Like, is that basically them entering the golf tour. And I just think they're probably, like, they're definitely up to something. I still haven't worked out what it is, but whether that's the benefit of their league or it's the benefit for us or whoever else, because there has been some, like, I mean, you could look at stuff like this. They've been given a lot of, and this is, I personally don't, this has got nothing to do with us for me, but some people have said that they've been given a lot of money to were rivals, helping them out with FFP. And now you could look at it two ways, that like it's affecting us or it's to grow their league. So, but I'm personally looking at it as they're trying to grow their league. That's the way I look at it anyway. But it's just, I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do here. You know what I mean? Like, is that their main aim, to get their league up to scratch, or is it to just bring some players over for a few months to help Newcastle? I just don't know. At the minute, I just don't know.
I always think that they're doing it because they want to get rid of FFP.
Yeah.
Benzema was born in Lyon to Algerian parents.
That's it.
Interesting.
I knew there was something, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, there's a lot of French players that do have the descendancies in different countries, don't they? So
yeah.
Very interesting. Anyway, the international break as well threw up some very good performances for Bruno at Brazil. He's got me purring again. I mean, I know it was only against Bolivia, the first one, but 100% pass accuracy. He created 3 chances. He got an assist. He then goes into the next game, gets another assist. Bruno's apparently come back home and he's bouncing again. It's just what we wanted to hear, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, Bruno's still the best player at Newcastle, right? I still think he's number 1. I just think he hasn't had a great start. But where was he playing for Brazil? Was he playing further forward?
I think so. Playing as a double pivot, I think.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now, for me, I mean, we'll go on later on, but for me, play Bruno in his right position and you'll get the best Bruno for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad he's playing. But I just, you know what it is? There's one person I want to see have a big game tomorrow. It's Bruno.
Yeah.
I would just love him to light the game up, and because I think when we played Brentford last season, I think he was one of the best players on the pitch, when we played them last season. So
yeah,
if I remember rightly, so I'm hoping we see the real Bruno tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because me and Kyle are sick of telling my wife and all that Bruno's a class act, and every time she watches him, he looks terrible.
Do you know what you need to do? You need to try to
convince her
off out of the house when you're watching the football, because she's putting Bruno off, obviously.
Oh, I know.
Something to do with that.
It's but now, like I said, I mean, we've got loads of shirts ordered and stuff like that. And the kids have got Bruno on the back of their tops. I mean, we love Bruno in this house, and it's like, I just want him to get back to where he was. The Bruno I first saw.
Yeah.
Who I was putting in my top Newcastle 11 of all time. You know, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think we're not going to see him, but he's one of the success stories of the international break. The other one is Joe Linton seems to be fully fit because he's took involvement in international duty, so that's a good one. The bad news is obviously Tonali's come back with a tiny injury, so he's a bit of a doubt for tomorrow. Botman's trained. They're going to wait until it was later on today after the press conference what Eddie Howe said. They said he's trained. We're going to see how he comes out of it. For me, I know Bruno's the best player we've got, but Botman is the most important player we've got in our football team, because you take him out of it, our defence looks very, very suspect.
Without a doubt. I couldn't agree more. For me, Bruno is the best, but Botman's the most important.
Yeah.
Will Botman become the best? Potentially, yeah. Now, when he's been out the game, when he came off against Liverpool, the evidence was there. Brighton, oh God, I didn't see any more about it. But Sven Botman was out of that game, and
it showed. Honestly, he was out of that game, didn't it?
Yeah, he's just so important. He's absolutely vital for that team, because I said he's not replaceable. We haven't got anybody to replace him. Everybody else can be replaced. He can't. He's just, there's nobody to come in and go, right, I'm going to fill his position and do exactly what Sven Botman does. Now, yeah, you could say years ago, Shearer got injured, but what screwed then? But there was always somebody who could come in and do a job. But I don't think anybody in that team can come in and do a job anywhere close to what Botman can do. And I mean, the only person who can, sure, but he's the one who plays next to him. So
yeah,
it's just so vital. Honestly.
It shows you how weak we are, doesn't it, in depth in our defence. I mean, it's nice Dan Burn can do a decent job, but not to the level of Botman and against the top 6 teams. I would trust Burn to come in when we're playing the likes of like a Burnley or a Sheffield United or something like that. I'd expect Burn to excel at that level. But when you put him up against a Brighton, an Arsenal or someone like that at left centre-back, I think he struggles massively because he hasn't got the pace.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw it against Liverpool, didn't we, when Botman went off injured. The last goal, he was nowhere near to be seen, was he? And he wasn't in the right areas, and he was never going to catch Núñez because he hasn't got the pace.
I mean, whether this is right or wrong, I have heard Botman's in. He's starting. Right now, if Botman wasn't starting, I probably would have heard that Lewis Hall was coming in, because I don't think he would play my target again, right? And Burn at the same time. I don't think he would risk it, right? So I think Botman's fit.
I do.
I think he's been fit out for a while, and like this mostly this week. And I mean, there was even inklings that he was going to be fit for Brighton, but I think they were thinking international break. We'll just give him a few weeks. So I think Botman's fully fit and ready to go. I think he'll be in the 100%.
Ian, you are right. We had the best defence last year, by the way, but Botman was ever present in that defence.
Yeah.
And that's, the reason why it was so good. His leadership at the back, his old head on young shoulders, is just phenomenal, the way he reads the game.
You could look at it this way, and this is no disrespect to Shaw or Trippier or whoever. You take Sven Botman out that side last season, we will not have the best defence in the league. No chance.
We probably wouldn't finish fourth either.
No chance. So he's such a vital player, absolutely vital player. Like I say,
I'm saying Dunk is quality, but at 32, he's not someone we would be buying, and he's not someone Brighton would sell. And I don't think Dunk would actually move to us, to be honest with you. I think he's a Brighton man through and through now. So, but yeah, I'd agree. I'd like to see Dunk next to Botman for 2 seasons. I think that would work really well. But what's the point in buying a 32-year-old to replace a 32-year-old?
Exactly. I think if we've got to go big, and we've got to go for somebody like the guy at Benfica, and throw all the money at one player and just
Silva.
Silva. There's no point in Dunk would have been ideal last year. Coming in and stuff like that, but you've got to think now where we're going and where we want to be. And as much as I think Dunk's a quality player, and I would play him right now. I think he would definitely get my side right now. But in the future, you've got to keep going bigger and bigger. And I think what a lot of people do forget is, I think we've got a lot of committed, determined players at Newcastle, but if they don't think we're going to improve or get a bit better season after season, these players will want to move. Some of them will anyway. And that's just the nature of the game. And it's happened to Newcastle numerous times where players have left because they didn't think there was ambition there. And I'm not saying there's a lack of ambition, because these ones have clearly got massive amounts of ambition. But if, like, say, football's a short game, as they call it, for a player, and you can't just, if you want to do something, but it wasn't what you were expecting in the summer, then it might turn somebody's head if a Man City comes in, for example. So it's just one of those, isn't it? But we've got to every year from now on just improve, but we've got to improve with better quality, younger quality, like Silva and people like that. But I think the days of players coming in doing a job for us
they've got to be gone.
Yeah, they've got to be gone soon. And I mean, you look at Brighton, for example, buying Ansu Fati, you know what I mean? It's just that's not a deal they've brought in to, say, just to plug a gap, you know what I mean? They're trying to get better. It's clear that, I mean, at some point, right, Brighton are probably going to come out and just think, right, we're not going to sell a star this summer because we want to just do something else, right? We want to try and get better. And we want to try and improve our position. And that's what Newcastle have got to do as well. They've just got to keep going and going and going every summer. And every summer is just it puts more and more pressure on everybody, to be honest, especially with owners, because I've said this time and time again. I think our owners are going to turn out to be a bit impatient, right?
Possibly.
I really do. I've seen a few where not Amanda or Mia that are out like that. I'm on about PIF. I think it's like Jordan said, and soon as they said, the Saudis want to be number one at everything when they come into sport. They want to be number one. And he says they didn't buy Newcastle to be number 12 or number 10 or number 8. They brought them to be number one. And I know it was for the show, but that's exactly what our chairman said on the show. The plan is to be number one, and that's what they want.
I agree with that.
without a doubt. And
Right. Ian, you need to get the wax out your ears, mate. We never said Botman's going anywhere.
No.
We never said we were a selling club. And we never said we're selling Bruno either, or that because the club turned it down. What we said is that if the team doesn't carry on improving, players will get unhappy because they're not getting what the project was. And then they could potentially move on. You know, some people don't listen properly and read into what we're saying.
I know it sounds. I know this is another thing as well, but to be a big club, right, to be one of the best, you have to sell a player for a lot of money, especially with FFP, to grow. Now, every club in the top 6 has done that in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They have sold a player for a hell of a lot of money. Now, Liverpool got away they did because they sold Coutinho for 140 million, right? That's just the nature of the game at the minute. Do I want to see Botman, Bruno? No, absolutely. I've just got Botman on the back of my shirt. It's coming in the mail. I don't want Botman to go anywhere. The kids have got Bruno coming. You know what I mean? These are players that I want to see here for a long, long time. You can tie them down to lifetime contracts, do it. But it's just the nature of the game, isn't it? And sometimes it's to improve. You have to do that at some point. I mean, them two were the last two I would try to get out the door, but I'm just...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we wouldn't even try and get them out the door. What we're saying is that players would look at the situation. If the ambition has not been hit, that had been promised to the players, and a big money move comes in, you just never know what's going to happen. We can never say no to anything. I don't care whether we're a selling club or not. Newcastle weren't a selling club when we sold Andy Cole, and it happened. You know, unexpected things happen.
I'm still having nightmares about that, right? So I literally, when Andy Cole left, I cried like a baby, right? And I've never, ever since then, I've tried not to get too attached to a player. It hasn't worked, right? But Andy Cole was my hero, and when your hero leaves, it absolutely deflates you. So I just try to like look at different things now. I mean, I know I was younger back then, but it's
I mean, how many people said that ASM wouldn't leave? We wouldn't sell him, and look what happened. We sold him.
There's loads of people.
You know, exactly. So you can't sit here. No one can sit here in our shoes because we don't know what is going on behind the scenes. Nobody can say we wouldn't sell a player because you just don't know what's going on. You know, they could potentially sell a big player for 150 million, which opens up on a 5-year contract, 700 million FFP, and they know sacrificing that one player could bring in 5 £100 million players. You know, you've got to weigh up the pros and cons of everything, but we don't know what's going on, so let's just see what happens. And yeah, our owners are saying we want to be number one, but there's a way to get to that number one spot. So you're just going to have to see. Well, we don't get your point, Ian. You don't get our point, so let's just move away from it. That's probably the best thing to do. I hope Gordon goes on, but I think it will be Barnes. Save Gordon for Champions League, same as Tonali. Very interesting. We'll come on to team news soon. The other one from the international break that caused a bit of a stir is Anderson. He pulled out with the Scotland squad. Again, Eddie Howe said in his press conference he's not sure if he's going to be fit or not. It's a bit of a stop-start again with Anderson, isn't it? He did this last season. He was a little bit, he was starting to get going, and then he was injured again. It seems to be happening again to him after such a great pre-season.
Do you know what it is? I'm hoping, because I hear it loads of times. How many times have you heard, this kid's going to be the next best thing, he's got so much potential, and then it never happened? And it's happened a lot. And I thought this was going to be Anderson's breakout season, especially after pre-season. And yeah, I told you I thought Anderson was going to start against Villa.
Yeah.
And I think he came on for about 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, he was long.
Why is Eddie not playing him? This is why when I see potential in a player, I always think to myself, why is Eddie Howe not playing him right now? He's not a new player that's come in. Eddie, like Sir Harvey Barnes, right? That's what he does. He beds them in. Anderson's been there since Eddie's took over, right? But he's still, you know what it is for me? He should be now seriously pushing the first team for that starting spot. He should even possibly, me and you picking what teams, you should even be in the starting lineup. Because I hear so much. It's not just the pundits either. Blades mentioned how good he thinks he is, how he's the next Peter Beardsley and stuff. So there's clearly massive, massive potential there. But I think you're right as well. I think, did he pull out with an injury, or was it because he wasn't sure he wanted to switch to England? Because that's, you just don't know, do you?
Well, isn't it?
It's one of those. But I mean, how old's Anderson now?
19, 20?
20.
Right? I'm not sure.
I mean, at some point, Anderson's going to have to come in and have a run of games so we can see how good he really is. Because the potential's there. I've seen bits and starts. Forest last season away from home. When he came on for St. Maximin, he changed the game, right? He had that goal disallowed, which shouldn't have been.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, and he came on and made a massive impact. But then we never saw him again. But Eddie keeps praising him, saying he's got... I mean, he was the first person... I think he won that race, didn't he, in pre-season? The bleep test or something like that.
He came back the fittest as anyone.
Yeah, he came back the fittest, so he's clearly a determined lad. But I don't know. I'm just like, at some point your potential is going to have to show, and you're going to have to be a regular in this starting lineup. But he's not going to start tomorrow. I don't think he is anyway. So it's a strange one with Anderson for me. And if he's on the bench tomorrow, he wasn't injured in international duty. That's for certain. It's got something to do with him switching. Because Southgate come out and said how much of a fan he was of him as well. So
that doesn't bode well for the future, though, does it?
To be honest, no.
Right, Mikey Mags asked the $1 million question. Would you sell Bruno for 150 million? Would you take it if it was offered?
Nah.
See, I would. If
I know
he
you
was
would.
going somewhere to, like, say, Spain or Italy, I know he wouldn't go to Italy because they haven't got that kind of money. But let's say he was going to Spain on a 5-year contract, times 150 million by 5. There's your FFP for the next 3 years. You could sign so many excellent players, and the squad would be bigger, better. The team would as well in the long run. Yes, it would hurt. It would hurt losing Bruno, but the potential that it unlocks in the transfer market is huge.
I'm only saying no purely based on the fact that there's other players who I think could go not for the same or roughly around that mark or over the 100 that I would say, fair enough, right? But
we don't really have those players, though, do they? I
no,
mean, there's Isak who could reach 100 million potentially, but he's not there yet. Botman probably could fetch that in the summer, but I wouldn't sell him because he's an amazing centre-back. With Bruno, you've got Joe Linton in there, Tonali in there, we've got Miley coming through, you've got Anderson, you've got Willock. You know, I know they're not up to Bruno's scratch, but they'll be close to it. That's why I would potentially let him go to fund the rest of the team. You
could look at it this way: if you were guaranteed that 150 million was going to be spent.
Well, it would be. It would definitely be spent on improving the team in the squad. Of course it would.
But none of this squad, Malarkey, just like purely first 11 that I got to come in and make a massive impact. Then, potentially, But there's no point in likes of... I mean...
So if they said to me, right, we're going to sell Bruno for 150 million, it's going to give us 600 million firepower. Not to another Premier League club is exactly what I said. If it was going to Spain, I would definitely do it. But if they said to me, right, we're going to go out and buy Silva, we're going to go out and buy someone like Osimhen to go up front as well. We're going to buy Cava. I'll be like, bring it on.
It's what I was saying before, that sometimes you have to go out and buy, sell a stock. Right? That's just what you have to do sometimes. But I don't know. It's just because I'm a big fan. I like Bruno's attitude as well. I just think
yeah,
he's one of those. He's one of those that I would struggle to see go, but I get it if it happened. For the club benefiting in the long run, yeah, it's probably the right idea. But I just think at the minute, I'd just prefer to see some of the other ones shipped out a bit. Like,
we'd love to see that, but we're not getting offers. We're not getting eyes on them. We've had to give players away for free almost. We're paying most of their wages still for loan players, aren't we? It's mental. It's doing my head in.
I'll tell you what, if you told me right now that he would go for £150 million, right, and a large chunk of that would go on Phil Foden, would you do the deal?
Yes. Phil Foden's quality.
Yeah. Because
that's leave Man City, to be fair.
That's to replace Bruno. That's the type. Oh, you wouldn't, but that's the type of player for me where you would have to replace Bruno with. You'd have to go for somebody better than Bruno, right? And to replace Bruno, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to replace Bruno, in my eyes, anyway. But it's like I said before, none of this squad stuff like buying Livramento for £40 million. You would just have to pump the whole lot in the first team.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jim, that's a long way away to answer that question. It all depends on where the squad's at with injuries and what competitions we're still in, I guess. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. But I think we might dip in for one, maybe.
I think it depends on injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie's confirmed loads of times that if injuries are the key to the transfer market at the minute, and if they get injuries, then they will dip into the market. And I think the club always hold money back for January. So when the
it's the new financial year as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So when the journalists come out and say that FFP is effective, I think the owners are always putting. I think you know what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's about 50 million. They always put to one side for January just in case. And I mean, do you know what it is? If I'm not a massive fan of January, right? Because I think inflated prices, desperation, and all that. But if there's a deal to be had, Newcastle will do it.
Yeah. They've always said that. They've always said that if the right deal comes up at the right price, they'll do it. It's just whether it comes up. Then the 21s won this week. I think they did. I think the women won as well, didn't they?
The women are on fire.
Yeah. So they should be.
But under 21s, I don't know. To be honest, I should be concentrating on the under 21s more because in the past I didn't because they were terrible. It was just you can guarantee they were going to get beat. But now, obviously, they're having quality that. Yeah, Miley's in there, Alex Murphy's in there. The amount of talent they're bringing through now. I mean, the one thing you'll see is I'll tell you what, in 4 years' time, Newcastle are going to have some help some youngsters, mate.
Right, we are.
Because what they're signing at the minute, it's some quality coming in.
Yeah. Fans, Mikey Mag, I only got 3 points on my test. I was buzzing. Mind you, this was a practice and he lied to me, so I think I was relaxed. But apparently if I did, I made the same mistake 3 times. And if I made it one more time, it would have been an automatic fail, regardless, even if I was under the points. So I got close. Yeah. So I was buzzing though. Me too. I just have to get negative shit. It's time to put money into the first team. That will happen. If you had to replace Isak, Bruno, Tonali and Botman, who would you buy at the level of those players to replace them? Oh, Jesus, that's a question. I wouldn't even know where to start, mate, to be honest with you, Steve. And let's hope it never happens.
No. I'll just quickly throw it out. Osimhen, Foden, Cava. I'm struggling for Botman, like struggling for Botman. Just Silva. But is Silva as good as Botman? Not at the minute, no. So, Silva.
And Steve. The other one to mention was Matete. He scored his first goal. It was debut and his goal, and they also qualified for the next round of the internationals as well, which is absolutely amazing. looking at the game tomorrow, Brentford sit on 6 points. We sit on 3 points. They're 8th. We're 14th. They haven't lost a game yet. They've done exactly what we did last year to get to 6 points: 3 draws and a win. We're on 3 losses and a win. The votes are counting in on this betting website that I say it's betting website. It's they give you odds on it and stuff like that. But only 10% think Brentford are going to win, with 1,970 votes. 22% say the draw, with 4,165 votes. But with a massive 12,889 votes at 68%, Newcastle are the likely winners. Odds are 11 to 20, 16 to 5 for the draw, and 5 to 1 for Brentford to pull off a shock, which we hope does not happen. They say the key players to watch are Callum Wilson and Christian Norgard. I mean, I don't know where they've got that from, like, because they're not the players I would look at. Callum Wilson and Christian Norgard.
Oh, it's in Bruno for me. I was
exactly.
Name right. It's him for me. He's been shit hot this season.
And it's Bruno as well, isn't it?
Brentford are. In a way, I'm glad we're playing Brentford, because I think it's a difficult game, right? But I think Brentford are going to come not to sit back, because it's not what they do. If you watch them at Tottenham last season, they beat Tottenham at Tottenham, and Brentford they do like to attack. They don't go out full attack, and I think it's a canny game for us to have, because we're not going to have a team that's going to sit behind the ball with 11 men.
Yeah.
And I think Eddie knows, and I think everybody else knows, that Brentford are a decent side.
They are.
Hence why they haven't been beat this season. So I'm glad we're not playing. Who could I use as an example? Somebody who's just going to sit 800 men behind the ball. I couldn't be bothered. Yeah.
A Palace.
Palace. Palace. Going to sit 800 men behind the ball, and I just think, oh, no, I can't be bothered with that. And then hope for a winner in the 75th minute. In the last 15 minutes. But now that's strange. They're picking them key men.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I mean, they've even picked Wilson to start. No, they haven't even picked Wilson to start. So how is he a key man? I don't get it. This website can be a bit funny sometimes. I mean, even for this, injuries and suspensions, Joe Willock out, Kraft out. They've even put Sven Botman out, but we don't think that'll happen. Doubtful: Anderson, Javi, Sandro, and Jacob Murphy is a doubt. I don't know. I mean, I know his wife's just had a baby, but I didn't think he had a bit of an injury.
Jacob Murphy hasn't got started this season at all, has he?
Yeah.
I mean, since pre-season, he's hardly been in. Yeah, fair enough. His wife gave birth and that, but I always find it bizarre how players get injured when they're not playing games. I know they train and stuff, and I know anything can happen, but it's like if you're getting injured in bloody training, God, see. But I'll tell you what, actually, Baz, Ian's put a point on there.
Which one?
That one.
Yeah.
That one. Like, we're the richest club in the world, where you're playing Milan soon, really winds me up. To be honest, Ian's got a point in a way, right? Because there's a lot of negativity out there at the minute. And
it's the league
in a
form,
way,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's
We're
the
also
league
not
form.
the richest club in the world, though. I'm sick of explaining this. We've got the richest owners in the world, right?
Yeah.
But it's not our money.
And
we are not the richest club in the world. The richest clubs in the world are the Real Madrids, the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, Barcelonas. They're the richest clubs in the world because their sponsorship money and all that sort of stuff is sky high. We're nowhere near the richest club in the world. We're something like 30th in the chart because PIF own us, yes, but it's not our money. What the club generates isn't enough to be classed as the richest club in the world, and people need to learn to differentiate between them two.
Do you know, people might be thinking I'm off my rocker here, but if FFP wasn't a thing, I fully believe PIF would have made a move for Mbappe. I fully believe that. Whether he probably wouldn't have come, but I have no doubt they would have offered him £1 million a week to come and sign.
Yeah.
Or $1.5 million or whatever it was. But the one thing I will say, he's right in a way, because the negativity at times, right, has been like ridiculous. I mean, even Simon Jordan's come out the day and defended Eddie Howe. saying, how the
Yeah.
hell is Eddie Howe's job under threat?
Yeah.
And
We're going to come
it's
to
like,
that.
yeah, and it's just the negative crap going around, right? It's just the start of the season. Yeah, I was pissed off against Brighton. I really was, because it was a dreadful performance. But he is right. We're playing Milan on Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's like, right, see where we are by Christmas. I always said this was going to be a transition season.
They even
It
said
always
that on
is.
the show as well.
Yeah, yeah. And and we will get there eventually, but he's right in a way. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy what's coming, because there's some massive games coming up. And I've watched Newcastle in the Champions League. I've been to Milan, and I tell you what, it's an experience and a half. And the Champions League, honestly, if we, I think we will, but if we turn up for the Champions League and play the way I know we can, I tell you what, you're gonna see some unbelievable games, because our group is just like, it's full of quality.
Right. Richest football clubs in the world. Just to give you an idea, what's classed as the richest football club in the world. Man City, first. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, West Ham, AC Milan, Leicester City, Leeds United, Everton, Newcastle United sitting in 20th. And that tells you how much extra work we've got to do. And that's the revenue in 2021-22 league. And you've got teams that are now, Everton, look how much they're struggling. You've got Leeds United, who are now in the Championship. You've got Leicester in the Championship. You've got West Ham, who've won a trophy. They're ahead of us because we're not the richest club in the world.
I tell you what, I know I'm changing the subject here, but you know, did you hear about the new owners at Everton? Apparently,
777.
Yeah, they own 4 of their football clubs, but one of the football clubs, I think it was Hertha Berlin or somebody like that, protested about how bad the owners were.
Oh, Jesus.
There was some protest. Everton fans are up in arms about this takeover. They think it's absolute. But regarding that, if FFP wasn't a thing, Newcastle are the richest club.
Yeah, well,
right? If FFP wasn't a thing, but it is, unfortunately.
I absolutely agree with that.
But I tell you what, we're in the top 20 again. And that's a bonus, because we've been out of it for a bloody long time. But we're finally back in it again. So we're getting there.
Just about, Ian, you've answered your own question with your own answer. PIF could buy the 10 richest clubs in the world. They could.
Yeah.
PIF could.
Yeah, easy.
Newcastle United couldn't.
PIF like
could,
I said,
because it's their money.
PIF would go out, if FFP wasn't a thing, like I said, PIF would go out and make a bid for Victor Osimhen tomorrow of £170 million.
Yeah.
That's what they've done in Saudi Arabia.
They blow everyone out of the water. But what I'm trying to explain the differences between being the richest club in the world and having the richest owners. It's a complete different
They just can't do it. Exactly. I tell you what, if PIF had bought Newcastle in '96 under Kevin Keegan, it would have been. I mean, geez, can you imagine? I mean,
no one would be catching us.
No, we would. I tell you what, would have won everything, because PIF have got that much money. They've just proved that by the amount of money they're spending in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like they've got so much money, it's frightening. They've probably made millions that me and you have been on the show just now. But the problem is bloody FFP. If FFP wasn't a thing, yep, we're the richest club in the world, without a doubt. Well, it's because of FF bloody P. We're not. We've got the richest owners, that's for certain.
Well, we definitely. I know we have. I know how much money they've got. It's just they can't.
It's just we're not the richest club because of FFP.
Exactly, Gary. PIF wanted a project to increase the value massively, which they're doing.
Yeah.
The only problem that's happened is Eddie Howe's come in, they've bought wisely, and they've over-excelled. We're in the Champions League, which means we need bigger, better facilities, players, and everything that we weren't expecting to have to hit so early in this project. And FFP is a joke. You're right.
If you get a chance, watch the chairman's interview when he's talking about when he bought Newcastle. Basically, what they wanted, the criteria was for the club they bought. They wanted a team with one club in the city, So he said that ruled London out, Manchester, Liverpool, you name it, because there was two clubs or more than two. He says, we wanted a huge fan base. He says, what was the point in buying Chelsea for £4.5 billion? He says, what would it do? Turn them into a £5.5 billion club?
Yeah, exactly.
He says, that was pointless. He says, what we wanted a club that we could turn from a £300 million club into a £3 billion club.
Yeah.
That's what he said on his interview. And he says, that's why we bought Newcastle. He says,
It
we're
will
one
happen all the
city,
time.
one fan base. And I mean, Newcastle, you know what it is? We'll not be having this conversation in 3 years' time because Newcastle will be one of the rich. They'll be like probably
We'll be up there
the
with
top.
the Man Cities and up there with Bayern
Oh,
Munich
without a
and all
doubt.
this sort of
And
stuff, without a doubt. But right now,
it'll
we're
not be a question because Adidas will be begging to sign a new contract and give them £100 million a year. Every sponsor will just increase, and then before you know it, Amazon will probably want some of it and stuff like that. It's just that's the way it is. And but at some point, like I've said, Newcastle are going to have to buy a store that are going to sell shirts in Saudi Arabia and America and China. Because at the minute they haven't got one, and that's nothing against them players, right? But when I'm talking about, you know what it is? My kids only know Newcastle players because of me, because I've taught them, right? But have a guess who my kids mention. Have a guess who their friends mention. It's Messi, it's Mbappe still. It's Ronaldo's, Benzema's. They're the players. My kid got Benzema in a pack today and he literally screamed down the stairs, right? Because he got Karim Benzema. Benzema's at the end of his career. But this is what the kids know. And when we get one of these, when all the kids know who it is, my kid told us the other day that he reckons when Ronaldo leaves football, the percentage of fans watching football is going to go because they're watching Ronaldo. And it's funny how I think the last player we had who would sell millions of shirts was probably Shearer, who would be a global star that would sell shirts around. Because you've seen it, some of our American fans who started following the clubs followed the club because of Alan Shearer.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
At some point they're going to have to like break the bank for a store, but that'll come in the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. Right, quick shout out for everyone. Please hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the show. Hit the thumbs up button, it massively helps. Link at the top if you'd like to become a member. It's very cheap. I've got an amazing prize, bob hat, whatever you call them, you know, these lovely hats sent by Revision. They do great hats. The retro ones. I've even ordered the orange one for myself. Bucket hats. So this is what we're going to be giving away to one lucky member very, very soon this month. So if you want a chance of winning that hat, please become a member. Don't forget about our official sponsors, Diet Crow, 20% off on their shop. Please go in the description below to find their link. Some amazing shirts. They'll be back next month to do the next free giveaway, but we always shout them out because I like them. And I've got the Nick Pope t-shirt as well. So please consider that. Dinner. All right. I am a fellow at the bar for Liverpool game. I was a fan of Shearer, now a Newcastle fan for life. Brilliant. Baz and Gary having it large. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you saw the show this afternoon. They were saying that me and you should get one of these and we'll be Kevin and Perry and Blade will be Eyeball Paul. Which would be
Who's
fun.
Kevin and who? I'm guessing you're Kevin and I'm Perry, is it?
Yeah, definitely. I love it. Right. With all the news that's happened in the press conference, this is the team that I think we might see. I think Longstaff comes in for Tonali because of his potential little injury. I would love to see Lewis Hall, but to be honest with you, I think he'll move Burn back to left back because he's like that. Might see Wilson because of his new contract, but I would stick with, I know it wasn't great against Brighton, but I think that would work. And I think Bruno would move more where Longstaff is and Longstaff will move where Bruno is. Would you like to see any other changes in there, Gary?
I'm going to go for the team that I think Eddie Howe's going to pick tomorrow and not the team I would pick, right?
This is what I think Eddie might do.
Right.
I would change it because I would play 4-4-2 tomorrow against Brentford.
Yeah. Right. This is what I think he's going to go for. I've heard his interview this week where he's saying he's not frightened to drop players if they're not performing. Right. So that tells me he's dropping players. Right. I'm going Nick Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Bruno, Joe Linton, and I think Longstaff will play because I've heard Tonali is fit, but I don't think he's going to risk him, and I think he'll play at Milan because I don't think you want Tonali to miss Milan.
Yeah, I agree.
And I reckon Callum Wilson's going to come in for Isak. And I think Harvey Barnes is going to come in for Miggy or Gordon. I just can't decide who he's going to drop yet. But I think Harvey Barnes is going to start. I don't know who he's coming in for, but I have heard that potentially Harvey Barnes is starting as well. So that's something that might happen. But as for who it is, I've got no idea. My guess would be Gordon, right? Because Miggy's, I don't know, seems to be undroppable under how. But something's just telling me that after Callum Wilson came on against Brighton as well, I think he's going to start Wilson. But just see what happens. But I think Burnley. I'd start all the Murray. Absolutely, I would. I would still keep Isak in, but I think it's time for Harvey Barnes. Man. None of this like 5-minute malarkey. I think he needs to come in. And we need goals. We need more of attacking threat for me at times as well. So just bring Harvey Barnes in. He's one of the best at doing it in the league. I've seen him do it time and time again. So it's like it's time for me. But
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did.
Leslie, did he? I mean, he
did
looked
go
all
off,
right when he was on the plane coming home, though, didn't he? With smiles on his face. So
I think he's fit, but I've just got this feeling Wilson's going to start. No, I've just. I don't think Eddie was happy after Brighton.
No, he wasn't. I don't think any of us were.
The thing with Isak and Wilson is we know he's not frightened to change them at all because he's done it time and time again with them. If they're not performing, they come out. And I think at this moment in time, this is Isak's 2 games in a row now where for me, he ain't been up to scratch. He's been very isolated. So maybe bringing Isak on for 25 minutes tomorrow is kind of being absolutely
scored on international duty, though, didn't he, when he gets the service? That's the thing.
See, yeah, well, that's the thing for me. And if you take, I mean, look, personally, this is my personal opinion, I would drop Miggy the Murray, right? And I would bring Barnes in and play Gordon, right? And I would tell them to get as much service to Isak as possible, right? Because I just think Miggy needs pulling out for a bit. He's played some games in midweek. I know Bruno and Joe Linton have, but he for me, I just think he needs to come out for a game or two. Bring him on, whatever. Bring him on. See what he does when he comes on.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it before. He started Murphy, and then Miggy's come on and made a point and scored. I remember he scored against Brentford because he didn't start. He scored against Wolves and won the game for us when he didn't start. You know, so he has done it before. Facebook user saying, why can't you play both? I don't like playing Isak and Wilson from the start just because then you've got nothing to change up. You don't have another striker on the bench, do you? But against Brentford last season away, we started with 4-3-3. It wasn't working. We went to 4-4-2 with Isak and Wilson, and we ended up winning the second half 2-0 and winning the game 2-1. So,
I mean, you could look at it this way. I personally think Isak's best position is off a striker as a false 9. Right? I think that's that's his number one, right? So yeah, you could play them together. But then you're talking about changing the whole formation, and is he going to do that? I don't know. He might have been working on something. I doubt it because they've all been on international duty. So, but it is something that I have no doubt he's been thinking about. Because they're both quality players. And I know I've said time and time again, I don't think Tonali, Joe Linton and Bruno is working at the minute. And because I think they're too similar. Wilson and Isak aren't similar, they're different type of players. And that could potentially, but you'd have to change the formation.
Yeah, well, let's go off what SofaScore is saying. They've got Nick Pope, Dan Burns, Shaw, Trippier, and Matt Target. And they've got Joe Linton, Bruno, and Sean Longstaff. They've got Gordon, Isaac, and Harvey Barnes. So they've dropped Miggy. For Brentford, they've gone for a 3-5-2 formation. And they've got Pinnock, me, Collins at the back with Hickey on the right, Rico Henry on the left, who's been speculated at Man United move, to be fair, in January. They've got Janet, Nogard, Jensen, and Mbema and Wissa up front. So obviously Tony missing because of his betting scandals, but Mbema's definitely stepped up, hasn't he?
Oh, God, yeah. I think he was nominated for Player of the Month. We've got to keep him quiet. And if Botman's playing, I have no problem
no worries
at all.
At all, yeah.
Nah, not with him. I mean, to be honest, that team they've just put out there, Target and Burn again. But yeah, Spurs, please no. Honestly, please no. I mean, seriously, it's like, do you know how long does Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall need to get up to scratch to get Mark Target out of the side? Like, because I'm sorry, like, it's like we've paid £80 million for these two, and we're playing Matt Target according to them. I don't think Target will start tomorrow. I think Burn will play because I think Botman will be fit. But personally, I would play Lewis Hall. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think of Gareth Southgate, he did get called up for the England squad. So Lewis Hall's got something about him. Yeah. There's something in him.
But we know he's not an official left back, but we know he can play there and do a better job than anything we've got at the moment. So
I mean, playing him and Gordon together could be a serious partnership for me, because they've both got pace to burn. And you know what is the last time I saw anything great on that side of the pitch was when Enrique and Gutierrez played together. When them two used to play together, they used to overlap this, that, near that, and they knew exactly as a partnership they were quality. And
do you know who was better?
Who?
Bernard and Robert.
Oh yeah, aye. But do you know what it is? I think Hall and Gordon could be a serious partnership. I really do. They could cause some problems because I think they're both clever players anyway, and they've got pace to burn. But I think Burn will play. I really do.
I do as well, because I don't know why. It's just Eddie Howe in it.
I'll tell you one thing though. You know, tomorrow. You know, if we get beat tomorrow. Who?
3-1 to Leicester away to Southampton.
Southampton have been really poor, you know. They were terrible at Sunderland last week. 2 weeks ago.
That never happened.
So Southampton haven't had a good... You know what Southampton's problem is? They had a decent start, sold all their players, and they've just went like that. But that's what happens. But Leicester are 1,000,000% going back up this year. They are steamrolling their way through that league. But
even better on the left, Beresford and Ginola were being outdone again.
Oh, they were just like next
but
level.
Beresford hated Ginola because he never helped out.
Well, you know what it is, yeah. But Ginola was an absolute genius, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm just genius. But Robbie never helped out. And this is what gets me about like Newcastle needing 11 men who pressurise the ball, because some of the best players I've ever seen in a black and white shirt have been lazy buggers. You know what it is? But their quality was undoubted. And it's sometimes you've got to have one lazy sod on your side who's got that quality just to... Because how many times, right, did Laurent Robert win us games because of his left foot?
Times.
And you know what it is? If you didn't have Robert in the side and you had somebody who worked hard for 90 minutes, you probably wouldn't have won the game, because Robert used to just come up with genius moments. And this is what Miggy and St. Maximin did in a way. I mean, Miggy works harder than them. I'm not saying he doesn't, because he's one of the most hardest working players in there. But St. Maximin, for example, he could every now and then he could just do a bit of magic like he did at Wolves, and but he was lazy. But exactly. But the problem is he didn't do enough of it. If we can somehow get somebody in there who's not the best at like working hard at defending, but it's an absolute genius going forward, then so be it. You know what I mean?
Against Barn Squares to Callum Wilson against Liverpool, and Isaac finishes against Brighton. Completely different story. Yeah, exactly. There's 3 little sliding door moments in each game. There's one, the City game.
Well,
there wasn't just the J7 opportunity. There was the one where Wilson had a 1-on-1 and he had 2 players bursting in behind him to make it a 3-on-1. Barnes should have squared it to Callum Wilson, 100%. I never saw the Isaac chance against Brighton because I was at work, so I missed that.
I said, I remember when we put it on, the first 5 minutes against Brighton, we should have been 2-0 up, right? Because Isak should have scored twice. And I'm trying to remember the chances in my head, but one of them, I don't know what he was doing. Honestly, I said to Kyle, I said, is he done that because it's like the first 2-3 minutes of the game and he's not match sharp yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was just, and I said to him, I says, if this had been half an hour in the game, Isak puts that away.
Yeah.
But it's our lips and butts, isn't it? No, it is all the time. It's like if Callum hadn't been sent off against Liverpool, would it have changed the game? I don't know. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't.
I think we would have played better against 11, to be honest with you.
If we'd have had a number 6 on the pitch, would Evan Ferguson have scored that second goal? No, probably not. So it's our lips and butts,
Of course it is. Get your score predictions in the chat as quickly as possible, guys, because we're nearly finished. While you're putting your score predictions in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Please hit the thumbs up. It really does help. There is a membership option which helps to pay for the channel. Don't forget about our sponsor, Diet Crow, who are an amazing little run family business in America. They ship in the UK, ship worldwide. Amazing t-shirts, 20% off for all viewers. But also, just for the next giveaway, Revision have sent us a hat. These hats are amazing. You can get them on eBay from £25 to £35. I've ordered the orange one for myself. This bucket hat is going to be given away to one lucky member this month. I'll put out the draw when I get a chance. Gary's been asked if he's doing a watch along. He will, because I know there's a way of sorting that out, and I'm going to talk to him after the show. 3-1 to Newcastle, 100% agreeing. This lot will be the achievers. Okay, it definitely will be. We're not disputing that. We never have. We're all happy here. We just want to talk about the game. 3-1 to the Toon Says Facebook user. Only watching tonight, lads, because I'm home early. Early train tomorrow to Edinburgh for flight to Milan. Enjoy, mate, you jammy bastard. 3-1 from me. What's your score prediction, Gary?
I went 3-1.
3-1? You went 3-1? I've got 3-0.
I said I went 3-1 the other day, if I remember rightly.
We need a clean sheet of 3-0.
Do you know what it is? Even with Sven Botman in the side, I'm not confident of a clean sheet at the minute.
Really?
No, not at the minute. I'm not. We could do one, but the problem is I'm not saying this so much to trip you, but I just expect a mistake from one of the other ones. Even the goalkeeper at the minute, I don't think Nick Pope's confident at the minute. And it would be nice to get a clean sheet, but I think. Well said. I think we'll have a couple of shaky moments tomorrow, but I still think we'll win the game.
Well, Bruno was the man in the last game against Brentford at home. We were 2-0 up. We went back to 2-1. Bruno took the ball in the scruff of the neck in midfield, went up and scored. Made it 3-1. Then we just rioted on them like we can do. I don't think people understand what's going on. And we completely know what's going on, but I don't think you understand what we're saying and talking about and having points and having an open opinion and in discussion. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. We will be number 1 at some point, but God knows when that'll be. 4-0 here. Have some faith. That Sven is back. Yes. Right. Thank you very much for joining in. As always, everyone in the chat. Gary will be available for the watch along tomorrow. Hopefully, both the kids will be there, but not all the kids because it's his little Lynn's birthday. So happy birthday to little Lynn tomorrow. I'm going to be in town somewhere watching the game with Julie and her husband, and hopefully a few other people. So if you are wanting to come down to Newcastle and have a drink, come and find us. It should be fun. We will be back Sunday night for the review. And then we'll have a few other things lined up next week. We need to get our act together and get some more shows out for you guys. So we do promise we will do that. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.